Hello, I'm Chris Cloudman, Mayor of the City of Deland, and I'm excited to read Chapter 35. Chapter 35, To be Murdered by One's Own Creation. Ashley had been waiting for them. She looked so stern and confident. Teresa was almost embarrassed when she stepped off the ladder, as if she had been caught red-handed breaking into Ashley's laboratory and not her own. John, however, jumped off the ladder, ready to fight. "How could you, Ashley? You went on television and joined forces with the Zacks. They're evil robots. Then you take Teresa's lab away from her. Have you lost your mind? Or are you really that selfish?" If Ashley was hurt or angry or embarrassed, Teresa didn't see a trace of it on her face. She calmly looked at the blue-green glob of algae in her hands, rolling it into a ball. "They said you would come back," she said quietly. "Who did?" Teresa asked. "The Flax brothers." Ashley stared at Teresa, her eyes narrow and determined, stroking the algae ball gently as if it were a pet she adored. "What did they tell you?" Teresa asked carefully. Ashley let out her trademark scoff. "They told me not to be afraid to take what was rightfully mine. They told me that I was so smart, so ambitious, that I would have to fight jealous competitors my whole life. But they told me that as long as I was strong and stood up for myself, I would get what I deserved." "Oh yeah?" John asked. "And what do you deserve? This lab? This is Teresa's lab, not yours. You took it only because the doctor went missing. You're a thief!" Ashley rolled the ball around and around in her palm. "Look on my desk," she said. 2 days prior, Teresa had sat at that desk to sketch possible enhancements for her spider. But now, Ashley was calling it her desk. Stacked on it were books about different species of algae and her spiral notebooks, where she took meticulous notes about the daily changes in her aquariums. One letter lay in front of the stacks, folded into thirds, recently removed from the torn envelope next to it. The envelope was addressed to Miss Teresa Brown, Miss Ashley Dean, and Mr. John Cooper. Teresa took the letter, opened it, and read it aloud. "My dear colleagues, I am a man with a passion for science, a love for invention, and a devotion to the natural world. To maintain the delicate balance that allows so many beautiful species to thrive on our planet has been my life's dream, and mostly a solitary quest. In my loneliness, I constructed 3 robots who could learn to be human. They became the family I was never fortunate enough to have. Because I loved them so, I gave them each a singular directive. For to be human is a wonderful thing, but quite frustrating. I have observed, if without purpose. So, with that in mind, I programmed my first son, Thomas Edison, to assist me in my attempt to save us from catastrophic climate change. My daughter, Marie Curie, I programmed to protect the owner of Flax Industries from danger, whomever they may be. And my third and most ambitious creation, Zachary Flax, I programmed to outsmart me, so that I would always be challenged, and so that his accomplishments would far exceed my own. I even designed Zachary to think he was truly human. And because I wanted him to enjoy being a complete individual, to explore his full intellectual potential, I even relieved him of the heavy burden of being a son. Although I loved him like one, I called him my nephew instead. What a big goof that turned out to be. To be a son or daughter is a burden indeed, but every child needs a parent's love. To my dear Zachary, I hope you forgive me for not embracing you as my own the moment I powered you on. I want to tell you that I am proud of all 3 of my children, but in their desire to fulfill their programming, one of my sweet children may very well try to incapacitate imprison, sedate, or even kill me. To be murdered by one's own creation would be a sad, but perhaps fitting end to an inventor like me. In the event of such a tragic occurrence, I must leave control of my dream laboratory to genuinely human inventors who, although they will certainly make mistakes, will not be prone to malfunction and really make a mess of things. In the last 3 days, I have been impressed with 3 young and ambitiously inventive minds. I can think of no better heirs to this laboratory than the most creative scientists I have ever met, Miss Teresa Brown, Miss Ashley Dean, and Mr. John Cooper. So, my dear colleagues, please consider this document my last will and testament. If I become incapacitated in any way whatsoever, I leave Flax Industries to you, 3 promising inventors who I have only so recently had the honor to call not only my colleagues, but also my friends. I know you love this planet as much as I do, and will use this laboratory to save it. Good luck to all of you. Sincerely, Dr. Neil Flax. For a moment, no one could say anything. Teresa was stunned into silence. But then John screamed, "Woohoo! Can you believe it? This laboratory, the whole thing, the whole freaking thing is ours! Think about it. Can you imagine the bubbles I'm going to make here? Yes, yes, yes!" Teresa let the paper fall to the desk. "I can't believe this," she said. "I can't believe it." Ashley watched her, waiting for her shock to subside. "But if this is true," Teresa said, "if this is really real, then everything's going to be okay. Ashley, where did you get this?" "Lando Calrissian dropped it here this morning." She pointed up. They all looked. The ornithopter was still circling above their heads, flap, flap, flapping. It seemed to be waiting patiently for them. "Who's flying that thing?" John asked. "I don't know," Teresa said, "but we need to keep looking for the doctor. At least with this will, the twins can't stop us, assuming they will follow what it says." "Oh, they will," Ashley said quietly and firmly. "If I've learned anything from my parents, it's that there's nothing more powerful in the world than a legally binding contract." "Well, this is great," Teresa said excitedly. "We can tell the twins they have to stop their plans for world domination. They can't replicate anymore. They have to help us find the doctor and then help us stop hurricanes. They'll have to listen because we're all in charge." John started giggling. "This is so awesome. We not only have our own personal laboratories, we have the whole laboratory. And not just for the summer, but forever." "No," Teresa said. "Don't get greedy. We'll find the doctor, and he'll be in charge again. If he's alive, that is. And I just feel like he's going to be. In fact, I'd bet that he's in that room with Marie Curie. She's programmed to protect him, so she's probably protecting him the best way she knows how. Locked up in a box so he can't do anything. Come on, let's go find that room." Teresa and John were about to run right into the main hall of the laboratory without any fear of the Zacharys when Ashley yelled, "Stop!" They turned their heads. She was not moved. She had not moved. She continued to roll the blue-green algae ball in her hands. "There's one more letter you need to read and sign." Ashley pointed to a second envelope on the desk. It was sealed and addressed only to Miss Teresa Brown and Mr. John Cooper. Next to the envelope lay a pen. Teresa opened it, eyeing Ashley carefully, and unfolded the single piece of paper inside. She read it aloud. "To whom it may concern, we hereby forfeit our shares of Flax Industries to Miss Ashley Dean. We understand Miss Dean will now have complete control of the Flax Industries laboratory. We agree to no longer interfere in her affairs or even return to Flax Industries again. Sincerely," Teresa looked at Ashley in disbelief. "What is this about?" "Yeah," said John, who was growing angrier with each breath. What are you up to, Ashley? Ashley glared at them, squeezing the blue-green algae mass tightly in her fingers so that it oozed between them. Sign it, she demanded. And she wasn't kidding.